Okay, hi everyone. I'm just going to do an update. I'm going to speak kind of softly because I am in an office that people could walk into any minute. I'm a nurse, but right now it's kind of slow and I didn't have a proper lunch, so I'm just taking a few minutes to do this. All right, I am 61, no, I'm 60. I'm 60 years old, and I did have my gastric bypass, my Roux-en-Y, done on September 25th, 2019. In Illinois. I live in southeastern Wisconsin, but I had it done in northern Illinois at the North Shore University Hospital by Dr. Irwin Denham. And everything went really well. I had it, like I said, September 25th. My stats, I'll just get those before I get into more of the surgery, which was actually, everything went really smoothly. My stats were, I weighed 275 at the beginning of the year of 2019. That was my highest weight ever. And 275, I got down to 245 right at the day of my surgery. So I lost 30 pounds, but the last, probably 10 of that had to do with my 3-week pre-surgical liquid slim fast and raw vegetable diet. Thank God for those raw vegetables, because I do love vegetables, and I would have lost my mind just drinking slim fast. But I sucked it up. I looked at it as prep for surgery. I was ready for it. By that time, I had broken a lot of the habits that they try to help you break. Grazing and eating too much. And, I learned that I can have my coffee, my latte or whatever without having even my little caramel rice cakes. I don't need that stuff. So a lot of that stuff was very helpful. A lot of those broken habits, very, very helpful. So again, 245 at my surgical date. Now it's been just over 3 weeks. Today it's been 3 weeks and 2 days. And so I went from 245, now I'm down to 230. So I've lost 15 pounds. Now that's a lot in 3 weeks. The first maybe 10 or 12 was in the first 2 weeks. It was amazing but now it's really come to a real slow, half a pound at a time. As a matter of fact, when I got on the scale this morning, it was 229, and it kind of like point something, and then I'm just saying 230. I'm just gonna keep it, I like even numbers like that. So again, 15 pounds since my surgery a little over 3 weeks ago. And the surgery went really well. I was only in the hospital for a day, overnight, and I only had gas pain because they pump you up with gas to do the surgery. So I could feel it in my shoulders, I could feel it in my upper abdomen, and that was uncomfortable. It was really uncomfortable. So I couldn't get comfortable, I couldn't sleep well. So I did take, they gave me IV Dilaudid for the day while I was there, and they sent me home on Norco, and I did take that for the second day while I was home, and then I think I took it maybe 1 or 2 more times the 3rd day max, and then I was done. And once you start walking around and the gas pains start dissipating, it wasn't bad. So I was just on my regular Tylenol, which I take for my arthritis anyway. So only a couple of days of discomfort, and then no severe pain, just really uncomfortable, and then just kind of like, I can't get comfortable. And then by the 3rd day, 4th day, everything was fine. Incisions, great. Very small steri strips. I think there's 6 of them, and everything's healing well. No problems. As a matter of fact, when I went for my post-op, because I'm back at work full-time, I was only out like 2 weeks, just over 2 weeks, because my post-op was just a day after 2 weeks, and then so a day after that, they sent me back to work. And I said to the nurse who was doing all my interviewing at first, it's almost like, did you do something down there? Did you do something? Because at the time I was still on, I had just started pureed foods, and I never felt hungry, but I never felt like full. I kept expecting these weird feelings, especially when I got to pureed food, that I would notice it, but I guess the stuff is so soft that you don't notice it. But I did, when I first had my soft scrambled egg, my first day back to work, stupidly I tried to eat 2, but 2 is half a cup, but it's more bulky when you cook it, but it's a half a cup of liquid, because I use the egg beaters. I could not eat much more than 1, and I thought, oh, that's a lot of protein, that's what I want to start the day with. Couldn't do it, and I could feel it, and then not pain, just like, ooh, I better not eat anymore. That that doesn't happen to me much. So it was like, okay, there's the restriction part. And I do notice that this week I've been on very soft foods, and I did eat some tater tot casserole my husband made this week. Very lean beef. I'm not a real big beef eater, but he made it. I like tater tot casserole. I could eat a plate like a lumberjack in the past. I would just keep eating it. But I just took, my half cup. I measured my meat first. I picked the meat out, 2 ounces of meat. I put it in half a cup, and then I measured a little bit of tater tot. I wasn't supposed to have a corn, but I did chew a couple pieces of corn. The tater tots are not real high in fat. They weren't that bad, they're not. And we had the reduced fat soup that you mixed with it. So I counted, I estimated, and I counted. I could not eat that whole thing. I wound up giving the dogs the last 3 or 4 tater tots. And so when I had it the next day, I reduced that amount, mixed it up, because I know you're supposed to eat your meat together, but it's better with the potato in it. So I knew I could eat a certain amount, so I mixed it up, and I did just fine with my 2 ounces of meat mixed in with just a couple of tater tots. I know it sounds crazy, but it was kind of neat to have the same thing he had. Counted it and put it in there and estimated everything. And I've done this before, with the weighing and measuring, and it went really well. So, and I didn't feel any, I eat slowly. That's what I told my doctor too, because he came in after I talked to the nurse and said, well, we're going to discuss your imaginary surgery. He thought that was funny. But and I said, I'm not feeling, even with the pureed food, I'm not feeling anything, any nausea. I'm eating it, and I probably could still eat more, but I'm not hungry, so there's no reason I'm going to eat more. He says, because you're doing it right. He goes, you're not doing things you're not supposed to do, you're not eating too much, and you're eating slowly. And I will tell you, that was one of my worst things, other than portion control, was eating like there was no meal coming. Again, I've always eaten fast. As you can tell, I talk fast. I walk fast. I eat fast. I do things fast. So one of the habits I had to break was eating fast. And I've really got it down to like just a half an hour, under half an hour. Got to put the thing down, chew. I do get a little tired of the chewing, but I am conscientious of stuff that needs to be chewed a little more than other stuff. So like when I had the tater tot casserole, that meat needed to be, ground beef it's not real tender. So I had 2 days of that, and I'm fine, nothing weird. Having scrambled eggs with cottage cheese. I never thought that would be so good, because cottage cheese is okay, but a quarter of a cup of Big Beaters and a quarter of a cup of the cottage cheese. Well, I cook the cottage cheese first. That is so good for breakfast, and that's the kind of breakfast I like. Eventually, I'd like to have a little peanut butter on something, but I gotta find something that's super low carb and just a little bit of it, because I like peanut butter once or twice a week. It's nice. It's nice. Anyway, so I'm doing well. I'm progressing fine with my foods. I think I get between 6 and 7 glasses of fluid a day, at least. I think I'm getting usually about 7. Probably don't do 8. But I'm up real early. I'm busy at work. I go to bed, by 9. I'm not going to drink another cup of water at 7, 8 o'clock at night, because I'll be up going to the bathroom. But I'm not having any problems with dehydration. I check myself. Everything seems fine. I'm going to the bathroom just fine, not too concentrated. So I think I'm getting at least 7 cups of water or fluid a day. That's about it. I mean, the food gets a little boring eating the same thing. I don't mind eating leftovers, but I do have kind of a 4-day limit. It's like, I'm getting kind of tired of this. Looking forward to my daughter's wedding in 5 weeks. I already know what I'm eating. I'm having salmon. I'm having a little mashed potato, a little green beans. I'm not a big sweet freak. So I might take a nibble of something just symbolically, but I don't need a piece of cake or a piece of a cupcake. So I'm lucky that way. I don't have that issue. But I do miss popcorn, and I do miss really good homemade tortilla chips. I don't miss them. I don't keep them in my house. But eventually I'm going to a Mexican restaurant again, and my husband and we've already got this packed, and he's really up with it. Whatever he orders, I will take whatever part I think I can eat, and I will take a small piece of it. Because number one, I love the thought of saving money and not getting 2 meals. And number two, I don't like the feeling of feeling full. And I don't want to go back to where I was. So, still got about 80 pounds to go. Been there, done that. It's interesting now to notice this restriction and to respect the restriction. That's how I feel. Respect the restriction. and just eat a little healthier. And I'm not grazing, and I'm not having a problem not grazing. So far so good. And as long as I can have a little bit like the tater tot casserole, yippee! That's all good. You know, it just makes you feel like you're part of the group and you're having a little bit. And I'm not shy to tell people I've had gastric bypass. I don't care. I'm 60, almost 61. At this point in my life, whatever. So far so good. I'll check in again.